Today I want us to continue to talk about perspective. And today I want us to think about certain situations, people, or ideas in which our perspective has changed. Now, if you remember, the other day I told you about my stove and how I took it for granted because I never used it and now it doesn't work. Well, now I want to think about a perspective that I have around that same topic, my cooking. Now, before, I didn't take too much of an interest in learning how to cook. I was too busy buying food elsewhere or getting it from friends. But now that we're here in quarantine, I've started to think about my ideas that I have about cooking. My perspective is starting to shift. I'm starting to think that learning how to cook different meals is very important. In fact, it's so important that my friends got me what's called a pressure cooker. Because my stove doesn't work, they had to buy me a machine that will cook and help me make my meals. Because of that, I've started to learn more recipes of cooking. My perspective has changed on this idea. Before, I didn't really care too much for learning recipes and learning how to cook. But now, I am. Take a moment and think. Have any of your ideas changed during the past couple months? If so, what? What were they before, and how are they different now? Come join me as we write into our journals.
All right, writers. So as we think about changing perspective, I want you to ask yourself this question. How are you looking at things differently? Take a look at this picture. What do you see? This picture might look familiar to some of you. Maybe some of you are looking at it and seeing an old woman. She's looking down. She has a big nose and a pointy chin with a head wrap around her hair. But maybe some of you are looking at this picture with a different perspective. You might see a lady, younger, looking away. You might see the side of her face with a little tiny nose pointing away and a feather in her hair. Some of you might switch your perspective. You might start with the little old lady and then end seeing the young woman. Or start with the young woman and see the little old lady. Our perspective changes as we have experiences in our life. Today I want to teach you this, that journal writers often pause to think about their thinking. Sometimes it helps to ask, how am I looking at things differently? Now, remember, a few moments ago I told you about my perspective on cooking changing. Let me show you what my journal entry looks like. Like I told you, I never used to cook. I never cared to learn how to cook yummy meals because I always ate out. I had Dunkin' in the morning for breakfast, I ate school lunches for my lunch, and I would go out to dinner with a friend for my dinners. I never had a reason or a want to learn how to cook. But now that we are in the stay-at-home order, and my stove is broken, I need to find a way to cook much more. That's where my best friends come in. They bought me something called an Instapot. An Instapot is a machine you plug in and you can cook many different things in many different ways. I can saute, steam, fry, and even bake. It is almost like having a stove or oven. Because of this device, and the fact that I'm at home all the time, I have learned so many new recipes. I have changed my thinking, my perspective, about cooking. Now I'm excited to cook. I want to learn how to cook as many things as I can. I'm stuck at home, so why not learn all of these fun things? This is how I'm starting to look at things differently. My perspective on learning how to cook has changed. At first, I didn't care. But now, I am excited about cooking new things. Take a moment and think, how has your perspective changed about anything in your life? Ask yourself, are you looking at things differently? How has your perspective changed? What happened to change your perspective? Take a moment and think, writers. Once you have an idea in your head, start journaling right away. I'm excited to see what you come up with.